Hi, I've got a great big fun quiz for you. There's 100 questions across a broad range of topics, so it should be a great challenge. You can just play along for fun, but if you'd like to set yourself a target, here's what you're aiming for. So if you're ready, let's play this quiz. Essential and visceral are both types of what substance in the body? Fat, blood, or lymph? They're types of fat. Which planet has a moon called Titan? Mars, Saturn, or Venus? The answer, Saturn. Columbia, launched in April 1981, was what form of transport? Nuclear submarine, space shuttle, or electric car? That was a space shuttle. The Ganges River is named after a goddess in which religion? Hinduism, Sikhism, or Buddhism? The answer, Hinduism. Superglue fuming is a forensic technique used to reveal what? DNA strands, blood traces, or fingerprints? That's for fingerprints. What word precedes ounce as a unit of weight used for precious metals? Troy, Paris, or London? That is troy ounce. A bronco is what type of animal? A sheep, a cow, or a horse? A bronco is a horse. Erno Rubik, inventor of the Rubik's Cube, is from which country? Iran, Poland, or Hungary? He's from Hungary. Which organs are mainly affected by cystic fibrosis? Lungs and pancreas, heart and brain, or kidneys and stomach? That mainly affects the lungs and pancreas. A fortress or castle in North Africa is known by which Arabic name? Souk, Kasbah, or Bazaar? That is a Kasbah. What colour is the Greek dip called tarama salata? Is it orange, pink, or green? It is pink. Painter of the Scream, Edvard Munch, is from which European country? Germany, Norway, or France? The answer, Norway. What game involves putting hands and feet on coloured discs? Is that twister, spinner, or rotator? That is twister. Which constellation takes its name from the Latin word for fishes? Pisces, Andromeda, or Aries? That is Pisces. Banana and which other flavour combine for a banoffee pie? Toffee, coffee, or lychee? That is toffee. Which organisation runs the World Bank? NATO, the European Union, or the United Nations? That is the United Nations. In which country is the city Mumbai? Philippines, Sri Lanka, or India? That's in India. All Hallows Day is better known as which? New Year's Day, Good Friday, or All Saints' Day? That's also known as All Saints' Day. Medieval armour called cuisse were worn to protect which part of the body? The thighs, head, or arms? The answer, the thighs. Monaco has a land border with only one country. Which is it? Italy, Switzerland, or France? The answer is France. Where would you find the abyssal zone? In deep space, deep oceans, or hot deserts? The answer is deep oceans. Whose wife was turned into a pillar of salt in the Bible? Job, Samson, or Lot? That was Lot's wife. Gala and Fuji are varieties of which fruit? Apple, orange, or pear? They are apples. Alchemists believed they could turn base metals into gold using which legendary substance? Red mercury, philosopher's stone, or ambrosia? The answer is philosopher's stone. In which novel by Dickens does Bill Sikes have a dog called Bullseye? Oliver Twist, A Christmas Carol, or Great Expectations? That's from Oliver Twist. Which city was the historical capital of Bohemia? Bratislava, Prague, or Budapest? The answer is Prague. What is the Great Star of Africa? Is it Mount Kilimanjaro, a diamond, or the Nile River? It is a diamond. The yellowish-green digestive fluid produced by the liver has which name? Lymph, mucus, or bile? That is bile. The line "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away" first appeared in which movie? Star Trek the Motion Picture, Alien, or Star Wars? That's at the start of Star Wars. Tirana is the capital of which country? Moldova, Syria, or Albania? That's the capital of Albania. By population, which is the largest state in the EU? Germany, France, or Italy? The answer is Germany. The river Danube flows into which sea? The Caspian, Black, or Mediterranean? It flows into the Black Sea. Acetone is a common ingredient in which of the following? Lipstick, nail polish remover, or mascara? That's in nail polish remover. Which of these is a type of bird? A linnet, lippet, or limpet? The answer, a linnet. Azote was the original name for which element? Zinc, nitrogen, or silver? The answer, nitrogen. Which part of a whale are the flukes? The blowholes, tail, or tongue? The answer, the tail. Nephritis is an inflammation of which? The liver, brain, or kidneys? The answer, the kidneys. Which country is the home of the original Bayeux Tapestry? France, Netherlands, or Belgium? The answer, France. The MTV cable network launched in the USA in what decade? The 70s, 80s, or 90s? That was in the 1980s. Which city hosted the Summer Olympic Games in 2000? Sydney, London or Barcelona? The answer is Sydney. BMX is an abbreviation of what? Bike Mountain Extreme, Bicycle Motocross or Bicycle Mountain Cross? It is Bicycle Motocross. What colour is in the name of the famous mosque in Istanbul? Red, blue or orange? That is the Blue Mosque. Which bone is also known as the shoulder blade? The patella, scapula or clavicle? That is the scapula. Which planet in the solar system is named after the Roman god of war? Mars, Saturn or Jupiter? That is Mars. Where was the gold rush known as the Victorian Gold Rush? Canada, the United States or Australia? That was in Australia. What is the name of a cell where a virus lives and reproduces? Host, home or house? That is a host cell. Meringue is made with egg whites and which other ingredient? Butter, flour or sugar? The answer is sugar. Which Italian saint was born in the town of Assisi? Peter, Mark or Francis? That is St. Francis of Assisi. What was abolished with the Emancipation Act? Free speech, the death penalty or slavery? And that mostly abolished slavery. Which James Bond villain has a Persian cat? Blofeld, Goldfinger or Scaramanga? That is Blofeld. Solidarity was a powerful 80s trade union movement founded in which country? Poland, Yugoslavia or Czechoslovakia? The correct answer is Poland. Who does the wicked stepmother poison with an apple? Snow White, Cinderella or Rapunzel? That is Snow White. Which Doc is best known for his role in the gunfight at the OK Corral? Doc Holliday, Watson or Brown? That is Doc Holliday. According to Christian belief, at the Last Supper, what food did Jesus say was his body? Fish, bread or lamb? The answer is bread. Kim Campbell was the first female Prime Minister of which country? Australia, Canada or New Zealand? The answer, Canada. The world's local bank is the strapline of which banking company? JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup or HSBC? That's from HSBC. Mass divided by volume gives what? Force, pressure or density? That is density. The Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet broke up and crashed on which planet in 1994? Uranus, Earth or Jupiter? That was on Jupiter. Cooking an egg without its shell in water is known as what? Simmering, blanching or poaching? That is poaching an egg. Lima is the capital of which country? Peru, Chile or Ecuador? That's the capital of Peru. Which famous guitarist earned a PhD in astrophysics in 2007? Keith Richards, Eric Clapton or Brian May? That was Brian May. What colour are the feathers of a hyacinth macaw parrot? Are they green, red or blue? They are blue. Cadmium is which sort of chemical element? A noble gas, a transition metal or a halogen? It is a transition metal. Barbara Hepworth is famous in which field of the arts? Opera, sculpture or dance? The correct one there is sculpture. Which bird appears on the Australian coat of arms? A kookaburra, emu or cockatoo? The answer, an emu. The Isle of Man TT is a famous race for what type of vehicles? Motorcycles, cars or trucks? That's for motorcycles. The Veld is a grasslands area on which continent? Europe, Asia or Africa? That's in Africa. Which musical instrument has 47 strings and 7 pedals? A concert harp, a grand piano or a pipe organ? That is a concert harp. Which is a park in London just north of Buckingham Palace? Yellow, red or green park? That is Green Park. The famous opera, Madame Butterfly, is set in which country? Japan, China or Russia? That's in Japan. Gulags were forced to labour camps in which country? China, the Soviet Union or Japan? They were in the Soviet Union. What is the practice of shaping hedges into ornamental forms known as? Topiary, origami or bonsai? That is topiary. What make of car was Disney's Herbie? A VW, a BMW or a Mercedes? The answer, a VW. Which author wrote the novel Anna Karenina? T.S. Eliot, James Joyce or Leo Tolstoy? That was Leo Tolstoy. The malfunction of which organ can lead to diabetes? The kidneys, liver or pancreas? The correct one there, the pancreas. Which fruit would you pick from a Mirabelle tree? Apples, plums or pears? The answer is plums. From which mythology do the legendary warrior women known as the Amazons come? Norse, Greek or Egyptian? They're from Greek mythology. What is the name of the fictional land in Gulliver's Travels? Mordor, Lilliput or Utopia? It is Lilliput. A minaret is typically found on what type of building? A mosque, castle or lighthouse? The answer, a mosque. Neptune is the Roman equivalent of which Greek god? Zeus, Poseidon or Hermes? The answer, Poseidon. Which African country has the largest population? Nigeria, Algeria or Egypt? That is Nigeria. Which brothers, called Jacob and Wilhelm, compiled fairy tales? Disney, Andersen or Grimm? That's the brothers Grimm. Which chemical is most often used to disinfect water in swimming pools? Potassium, lithium or chlorine? That is chlorine. What comes after Kuiper in the solar system zone beyond the orbit of Neptune? Belt, area or zone? That is the Kuiper belt. The Schönbrunn and Belvedere imperial palaces are landmarks of which European capital? Oslo, Vienna or Stockholm? The answer is Vienna. Which of these is the correct spelling? Millennium, millennium or millennium? It is the one in the middle. The velocipede was an early form of which transport? Steamship, bicycle or steam locomotive? The correct one there is bicycle. Which currency did the Netherlands use before the euro? The mark, shilling or guilder? The answer, the guilder. A carillon is a musical instrument that consists of a set of what? Drums, horns or bells? It's a set of bells. In the sitcom The Big Bang Theory, which character is an astronaut? Raj, Leonard or Howard? The answer is Howard. In 1917, the British royal family adopted a new surname based on which castle? Windsor, Stirling or Balmoral? The answer is Windsor. Dionysus is the Greek god of which of these? Music, wine or fire? The answer is wine. In science, what term is used as the opposite of digital? Binary, analog or manual? That is analog. The word osmic relates to which of the senses? Smell, sight or touch? That is smell. In the human body, what is the more common name for the axilla? The groin, waist or armpit? It is the armpit. In Latin, septem is which number? 5, 6 or 7? The answer is 7. The term ecclesiastical relates to what? The Christian church, government or military? The answer, the Christian church. Which aristocrat is widely regarded as the first computer programmer? Lord Byron, Ada Lovelace or Anne Boleyn? The answer, Ada Lovelace. Which component mixed air and petrol in old internal combustion engines? The flywheel, carburettor or alternator? Answer: the carburetor. The ukulele was developed in Hawaii. What does its name mean in Hawaiian? Jumping flea, screaming turtle, or laughing bird? The answer is jumping flea. So just to let you know, there's quizzes for you, mugs like this and t-shirts like this in the link down below. Let me know how you got on in this quiz. Did you manage to beat your target? Thank you for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on another one.